it's time to don our robes, put on our wigs, and step into the Slash Film Court.
Slash Film Court. Slash Film Court. Slash Film Court. You can't handle the truth. Court's adjourned. Slash Film Court.
The Slash Film Court is the semi-regular segment where we adjudicate your movie-related dilemmas. And today I got a dilemma for you guys that we have talked about some version of this in the past, but I think it's kind of an interesting one because, this is a scenario that may arise in some movies that we watch. Okay, this one comes in from Sam in British Columbia. Sam writes into slashfilmcast@gmail.com. First, I'm a longtime listener from the earliest years of the podcast. Love the show. Thank you so much for your dedication. My question is about the etiquette of crying during a film. I saw a movie. I'm not even going to say what movie this is because I don't think it's important. And I don't want people to accuse me of spoiling the movie. I saw a movie on Friday night, opening weekend. This movie is obviously a very intense movie. And a lady sitting behind me with her friend was sniffling and gasping throughout the first two acts. I had no problem with that. In fact, it made the movie feel more intense for me knowing that others were sharing similar reactions. When the third act got underway, she began sobbing. I'm talking uncontrollable weeping, blubbering, coughing, and occasional nose blowing. It did not let up until the very final moments of the film. I wasn't distracted. In fact, it made the movie feel even more intense for me, although I must admit I've never heard anyone cry so much in public before. When the credits rolled, a man sitting 2 rows down, so farther away from the weeping lady than me, came and angrily confronted her for ruining the experience for everyone else in the theater. She was still crying, so her friend told him to leave.
That's exactly what you should do to a crying woman.
Yeah. Her friends told him to leave, and she eventually did. I feel like the guy missed the point of the movie and shouldn't have rebuked her for crying so much, but then again, it clearly distracted him. Judges, what say you? P.S. Yes, I go see horror movies by myself, but that's not on trial here, end quote. First of all, there's nothing wrong with going to see a movie by yourself. In fact,
it's the best.
It can be one of the best ways to see a movie. So no.
There's a whole societal stigma against it. Like outside of movie people, they think you're weird for doing it. You know?
Really?
Yeah,
I've never encountered
it's
that.
It's a total thing. It's
a
very much a thing.
There's a famous Onion story about it. What is it? It was like strange loser going to see movies all by himself. Like that's the headline of the
story
article.
of my life. That's
I
used to go when back in the old days. I used to go. My tradition was I would go to the movies by myself on Christmas Day. Because when I first moved into LA, I wouldn't go home.
Do you give your whole you tell everybody you love give middle fingers?
No, I wouldn't. Didn't go home. We have a long-standing tradition where we celebrate Christmas the week before Christmas with my family, so everybody can go to the other sides of their families on actual Christmas. And before I was married, or I wasn't even doing the Totally Rad show yet. I was just moving. I was just living in Los Angeles and living by myself, and so I didn't have a Christmas on Christmas. And my Christmas was I would go watch the Christmas Day movies, and I'd go early in the morning by myself, and I would go see a movie, and then I would sneak into a second movie. That was my little gift to myself.
So you're saying that Onion Story was about you, Jeff?
Maybe. It was the best. I loved it so very much.
It is. Yeah. So I miss those days. Yeah.
Devendra Hardwar, how do you rule on this
Guy's
case?
An asshole. It's very simple. Guy's an asshole. It is unfortunate that somebody experiencing human emotion may distract you during a thing, but that it happens. People are they don't know what to do with somebody crying in public. And I guess maybe I'm just I don't know. I'm used to living in cities where people coexist and somebody may be sniffling. And what you do is either give them space. You kind of look at what's happening, or you're like, hey, do you need a tissue? Or just give them a tissue or something. That's it. What do they need? They don't need to be rebuked for having an emotional response to a movie. So that's unfortunate.
Jeff Kanata, your thoughts on this film court case?
Yeah, this seems odd. I feel like we're missing some information here because this seems like a disproportionate response to a perfectly natural reaction in the context of watching a movie. If she's wailing, if it's I can understand that because I feel like you can control. I mean, there are ways to cry in a non disruptive manner, I don't know if that's the case here, but I think I am not in favor of the reaction that is inappropriate in the sense of like, laughing during a sad scene or crying during
Right.
there are ways to make an emotional response feel like a commentary. And I'm never a fan of that. I've definitely experienced that where people, something happens and people are like, oh God, that like, we're in a society. We're all in a theater together, and you can have a emotional response. I often do. I cry all the time in movies, but I do think there's a way to do it in a manner that is consistent with the vibe of the room. That said, nothing that we've learned from this email seems to indicate that's what happened. So I kind of tend to agree with Devindra that this feels like a guy who's a jerk, but I wonder if there was some other aspect of it that maybe hasn't been revealed.
Was it a quiet movie? Like how I would love to know what kind of movie it was.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways to cry that are obnoxious for sure.
Yes.
I'm not going to argue with that.
It may or may not be a movie we are reviewing this week on the podcast. So, may or may not. May or may not.
Why hide that? I don't get it. But anyway.
Just people are so sensitive these days.
Just to make Flash Film Court more complicated. Absolutely. Going to remove key pieces of context and information.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, I agree with you guys, and Jeff, I think that's really well said about sometimes people can have an emotional reaction that feels opposed or diametrically opposed to what the movie is trying to evoke, and that feels weird. It is really hard for me to see somebody crying in this situation and feel like they are acting inappropriately.
Yeah,
because
this is a sad movie.
Yeah,
if it were about the movie we're reviewing,
if it were about the movie we're talking about this week, it would be extremely understandable.
It would be really easy to look at this movie and see parallels to modern life and being like, "Oh man, we're fucked, aren't we?" Huh? I'd wail for that. Yeah.
So. But not only that, Devindra, just like the idea of some movies can evoke feelings and thoughts about losing those you love, or connections with those you love, and so on and so forth. That can make people very emotional, and so I do think that that it is fine in general for people to show emotion. Now, here's the thing. You know what I was thinking? I was interrogating myself about this, and it's like, I don't know if I'd feel the same way about laughing at a movie, because I think that like it's possible to taken to the extreme, you can start to impact but I don't even know if that's true. I think if you're going to the Naked Gun and people are laughing really hard, I think that's probably fine. Like I think
you're not Robert De Niro and Cape Fear.
And the one thing you do care about. Okay, then I quit as your son.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the Robert De Niro and Cape Fear is the kind of canonical example of somebody, that person is the problem, right? And
there are people who are weirdly performative in the context of a film theater, where they want you to hear their reaction. Oddly, I've certainly experienced that.
For repertory screenings, that tends to happen. People who've seen the movie 1,000 times and they're like, "Oh, we've all seen this. We've seen Heat 100 times. Let's all laugh at every time Pacino says something," which was the experience I had one time when I went to see Heat. So it was not fun.
I agree. So I want to make space for condemning those people, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I want to make sure we're able to, whatever we say today doesn't mean we can't also be against that. But it's a fine needle to thread.
Yeah.
And I do think someone being profoundly moved by a movie should be in general okay.
I'm not surprised that a guy is aggressively angry about somebody expressing emotion. Like this movie is so much about that sort of thing too. If it were
I do think it's one thing for us to say on the show, "Oh, hey, this woman is guilty and she shouldn't have done that." We're not saying that at all. But I'm saying we could say that. It's another thing to then for a guy to go up to her and then rebuke her for it. Maybe they listened to the film court from last time and they took it too seriously. where we said
in
you
their
should go up
heads.
to people and tell them that. So.
Yeah.
Man, we need to really split some hairs up in here.
Yeah, he's a FilmCourt listener. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's why I feel like maybe there's some missing detail here, because the only way this seems plausible to, I mean, other than the fact that people are just jerks, but the only way this feels plausible is if she's being demonstrative in some way that is disproportionate. You know, if it's if it's some kind of wail, I don't know. But I can understand being like,
what if she was wailing though, Jeff? Right? What if the movie moved her that much that she was wailing?
I mean,
that's
kind of
what it,
probably okay, but you know, I think that's one where it's like, can you understand the line that I always want to say to people and often do is, you're not at home, right?
Sure.
You're not at home.
Yeah.
Like, you are out in public right now. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people that behave in a way.
I like that all of Jeff's line to people at movies are like somehow passive aggressive in some way.
I find it effective.
Yeah.
The way, like, there used to be a difference between how you behave out in public and how you behave in the comfort of your own home.
That is true. That line has dissolved
100%
in the post-COVID era, right? Like that line has started to dissolve, and it is a very terrifying thing. By the way, I do just want to acknowledge on the last FilmCourt, we talked about a situation where somebody brought a baby to a screening, and then the next time they went to a movie, the same couple brought a baby.
Do we have an update?
No update, but somebody in the Patreon, I'm sorry, I forget who it was. I want to say it's Chris. I'm not sure if that's true. I apologize if I got your name wrong, but somebody gave the really good advice, which is because we had said, hey, these people might actually be your friends because they go to the same movies. The problem is they're bringing a baby to the screening, and this person on the Patreon suggested you should go up to that person and say, start talking to them, and then say, man, you won't believe this story. I went to a screening last time and some asshole brought a baby.
It doesn't work because they're there with the baby. They're there with the baby.
You need to isolate them from the baby and then tell the story, and then somehow.
That's funny.
But yeah, that would be good. That would be a way of communicating your displeasure without necessarily
they do other of these kind of retro screenings. I went to one last week. Oh, it was ruined though. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
See, man, you mock, but passive aggression is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it has its uses, Jeff. I'm not saying it's ineffective.
It depends on the situation.
To quote the Big Lebowski, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're an asshole. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.